So we traded 2 Mississippis for a misbegotten. So J.R. Hendrick, Texan consort, and gentlemen, podcast of the early life of yours truly in a narrative commentary. Hello everybody, Jimmy Hendrick here, ramping up things in my business. There's going to be a convention March 10th and 11th. For those of you who are aspiring entrepreneurs, particularly members of ACN, go get registered and get your tickets. Also, they're in Lubbock. Those of you in ACN that want to be entrepreneurs, or that are entrepreneurs, and you're trying to get energy customers in Lubbock, now's the time. Work on it, okay? So now, here we go. I'm Jimmy here, your fearless leader, looking for something to drink. It may very well be, in this case, some water and apple cider vinegar. Okay, so I'll be back with you once I get my drink. Oh, never. So, as it starts at 6:30 in the morning, okay, JR's sitting there happy on the log, second step of the jacuzzi. That's in the sunroom, okay? Sunroom has several parts. Jacuzzi, living area, dining area, okay? And Elizabeth goes in there and says, hey, you want some breakfast? We're having a family call during breakfast. Christine, Amy, Kathleen's going to be there. Okay. So, they're sitting there in the sunroom having breakfast. Elizabeth was reading the society page. Uncle Carl gets the sports page. In Washington, D.C., Marie is reading the business page. Well, because, they're just probably interested in reading that because, your boyfriend's in law school. So, Elizabeth will do anything to fix her boyfriend. And he says, well, Christine, you really pulled it off. $18,000 of integrated circuitry and computer hardware arrived late last night at the mouth of the Mississippi River in some major city. And Christine's like, definitely count on you to notice. And Amy Kathleen says, well, I didn't think you was interested in anything like business loans, JR. And Elizabeth's like, okay, that's enough. I don't want to hear any more of this thing between son, daughter, and dad, okay? So it's 9 a.m. Central, and Duke University College, South Auditorium. The debate is about to begin, and this woman comes out and she says, welcome to the North Texas Specialty Forum debate. Our first debate issue is whether state and federal funding should go towards abortion. Arguing for is Joy Jones from the University of North Texas. In Denton, arguing against is James Ryan Hendrick, a junior, who is a junior at Texas Tech University. Okay, so it's 12 p.m. Eastern. And Sarge is driving up in this killer truck. Must have been something Jim got him after taking the school for so long. And with hardly anyone around at the house at the Richland, Sarge gets into his truck to go to meet a friend for some fun when he sees this red Jeep convertible with a regular weird looking Scotsman He'd been out of the family since, well, last week. And so it really concerned him. At the same time, Christine is in the home office talking to Brady Hood, who is someone that really wants that, some of those integrated circuits where they had $10,000 of those. And Christine says she'll have to talk to the Blackwells, of course, for that. 12 p.m. Central. Now, JR had lost his debate. And so, they returned back to the mansion in Gainesville. And so to ease the blow, Charlie walks with JR into the sunroom, in the side part of the sunroom, and they lock the door. And Charlie gives him, a bud to smoke. And JR's, look, I understand that you're not necessarily on my side in this issue. And Charlie's like, the point of winning a debate is not to pick a side, but to be right. Which, even though you lost, technically you are. Now, JR's cell phone rings. He goes up to Charlie. Charlie, can you get that for me? And hand it to me? I want you to think about this. Would JR normally do that? No. Because he's hanging out with Lazy Stern. And of course, he sees him a Colorado Diva, Sally. And then JR's pulls on the time. Hello, darling. How can I help you? She says, hey, when you come back, I want you to meet me for lunch on Monday. My apartment. I'll text you the address. I've got some non-alcoholic champagne going for you. And she says, I can't tell whether you're buttering me up or trying to set up some business. And Sally's like, definitely both. So they said their goodbyes. And Charlie's like, man, who was that? Oh, someone I know almost 7 years ago. We used to have fun. Drink now and then. Can't holler champagne. And had some champagne in Austin. What did you have to do with getting that? Crap load of computer hardware up there in Natchez, Mississippi. It's a God thing, Charlie. God thing. So JR's praising God for it. All the while he's smoking weed. That's weird. And Charlie's like, have another bud, my friend. You're going to need it. For the munchies. Come lunchtime. Okay, so it's 12:35 p.m. Central. In the living room of the house in Gainesville, Betsy talks to Carl. And says, look, Carl, I don't know what to do about your brother. It seems like he drives on JR and Christine competing. He drives on them competing against him. And I don't think that's necessarily fair for either one of them. You were always working with Christine. Can you call on her sometime? Get her to be a little bit more towards her father? And Claude says, pardon me, Betsy, but it seemed like every 2 years, Jim gets his wild hair And then your marriage suffers. First, I had to save JR from the fact in his early childhood that his father at times was so absent so much of the time. And then I had to come along when Christine felt the same way when Jim went crazy and went off to Nashville after some singer. I'll try. But Christine, like me, has a mind of her own. And like Jim, she's not likely to back down. So it's an hour ahead in Washington, D.C. Jim is on the phone with Mark Wilkins, trying to get the loan pushed through. Well, Christine is. But he said it would be on a... She said it couldn't be on Saturday. So then she calls Walt Fitzwilliam. Christine is on the phone doing this stuff for her on behalf of her father, to get some time on the show to talk about it. But he said that he already had Saturday booked. Now, Fitzwilliams reminds her that in 1984, Jim shook hands with Mark Wilkinson that they would not cross paths politically. Frustrated, Christine tells Walt that she don't care what her father did in 1984. She could easily talk to Bill Mayer about releasing another press release. Once again, getting her father's business, you know. So it's 2 p.m. Eastern, south side of Richmond. Sarge pulls out in front of the Richland and sees a black Jeep convertible. He's like, "Excuse me, sir, how can I help you?" And it says, "Yes, my son. Where is the Lord of the Manor here?" "He's out. May I ask who you are and what this is all about?" And he says, "Name's Ezra Scottman, and Jim Hendrick and I have a large score to settle. Are you a suitor for his daughter?" Okay, Sarge is 17 years old. Christine is 14. Obviously, this dude is all wet. And she's like, "Christine is only 14 years old. No, I'm not engaged to... I'm only engaged to a relative of his by marriage. Now, what do you want?" So he takes out the picture of the baby. This Jim Hendrick's son. Sarge's like all frustrated. "No way. Absolutely no way would Jim cheat on Aunt Betsy. Is she around?" "No, she's in Dallas for the weekend. Now, can you please tell me, once and for all, what you want?" The man takes out a cigarette and puts it to his bearded mouth. "Sorry, you were not around when this happened. But his eldest son, JR, was there. Almost 7 months ago, my girlfriend and I came. Gliding into the old natural way. That's why I know he's going to be moving back into that mansion later on this week. She told him that she was 3 months pregnant, and it was his, and she was keeping it. Oh my God. Look, I don't know where he's gone, or when he's coming back. So please, for the sake of the rest of the family, get out of here, and he'll contact you. Just give me your number. Saying nothing, Ezra gets into his truck and peels out of the driveway. Mr. Creepy, Mr. Obnoxious, and Mr. Creepy. I'll say at 4 p.m., JR is studying for his government affairs and media writing classes. So Charlie slips down to get into a conversation with Grandma Elizabeth and JR's mother Betsy. And Betsy says, only let you come because you are his roommate. And because we hope that you mind your P's and Q's. And he says, Miss Betsy, I apologize if I haven't. I love you. And she's like, Charlie, you must forgive Elizabeth's like, Charlie, you must forgive my daughter's skepticism. She knows that the kid can sow the wild oats. And maybe that's what he's doing. I don't know. But I'm dying. And I ain't going to judge. Okay, so it's 6:35 p.m. Eastern. It's for dinner drinks and at the Richland in Arlington, Texas, and the conversation is interesting. So Elizabeth is teasing Elizabeth Marie. Elizabeth Marie, what are you doing home? What are you doing home? Does it mean you gotta have dinner with you? You should be out dating. You're such a dork. You should be home. Shut up, Elizabeth Marie. Shut up. Shut up, Christine. And Christine's like, because I want to be home? And so Christine said, look, I'd party too, but I got schoolwork to do and I got work for Daddy. So the doorbell rings. And Rand, one of the night servants, rushes out to answer the door. And it's Frank. Now, Rand has got a little stain on his apron. Obviously, he's helping the rest of the servants cook, okay? Betsy patches into the phone call between Gainesville and Arlington, and JR's hook up. I hear Amy Kathleen is out with her boyfriend and her mama, and I can't say that I blame her. Poor Christine, having worked under a tyrant like our daddy. And Charlie's like, hey, y'all relax, come on. She's going to need serious skills for whenever she starts at Hendrick Oil with your father again. And Charlie said, I grew to realize that Charlie and I were like sugar and spice. JR was sugar, okay? And Charlie was spice. Because Charlie was always peppery personality. Okay, so Elizabeth Marie, she's like, okay, she and Frank, they absconded in the study upstairs. It's like, look, I may have come across as a user, but I like you. I don't want to keep seeing you. However, he can't seem to get the words together. I think we need to date Dutch. Unless we say otherwise. And Elizabeth Marie's like, okay. Yeah. Frank, the pool party, remember last week? Oh, I think I'm in love. And now he's like, I did a dumb thing. That relationship is going to be full of dumb things. 6 p.m. Central. The family in Gainesville sit down for dinner. Steak, mashed potatoes, asparagus, garden salad, and sugar cookie dough. Some make it sugar cookie dough ice cream. Gee, I want sugar cookie dough. So it's the next day, the 5th, 12 a.m. Christine comes in late and then Vince blasting Amy Kathleen. It's like, shut up, Christine. Pretty obvious, huh? Shut up, Christine. I mean, if you think about it, which, be honest with you, it's not that hard. Okay, so it's the 5th of February, it's 3:20 a.m. Eastern. Jim wakes up for what would be his last full day at the Richland. Frustrated at the way that his dream team was working on his plan. He was, however, he felt facilitated and floored by what he sees in is some love for Marlena, considering that Betsy was absent so much of the time. Now, 3 a.m. Central. Elizabeth is in the living room, and she is discussing things with listening to Charlie Rich. She said she overheard discussion between Charlie and JR, in which JR turned down another vape of weed. And that's understandable. She knew that Betsy didn't mind as long as Jim wasn't around. But JR wanted to be more focused on his studies, which Charlie ain't. Okay, sorry, Charlie ain't. Okay, 5 a.m. Eastern. Jim asks Marlena to sit with him in the pool area as he deals with a childhood memory. Now, this is one of those things as a synopsis, okay? It's a summer family vacation, July 1949, and Jim's mothers reluctantly agreed for them to have a diving competition. And, of course, Jim dives the best way he can, but his dad's like, oh, your diving's poor. You can't do anything right. And then you flash forward. It's the Swainfield, it's the Swainfield swimming pool. Betsy reluctantly lets him get JR in the water. He wants JR to swim from the shallow into the deep end. JR says no. He blasts JR. And so Jim realizes, hey, the cycle's repeating within myself, and I can't believe I'm doing this. But then he remembers another time. Because see, Jim's like blasting hey, you were sure me that you knew how to swim. And he said, but Eddie, I can't swim that far out. The coach, Uncle Carl, only taught me to do the shallowing. So, but then Jim realizes he has to make it right. So they're in a major swimming pool 2 weeks later. And Jim's like, hey, I did a wrong thing. So he's holding Gerald in the swimming pool, trying to teach him how to swim and everything. Hey, I got this. Because he realizes he's feeling bad. Okay, so I am. And JR is walking down the stairs. He overhears his mother talking to Grandma Elizabeth and Uncle Carl. And she says, referring to JR's daddy, I love him. But perhaps, maybe, I should have married, instead of John, Dustin, or Jim, Claude. He is so friendly and cozy and loving. I don't know what's going on with my husband. He's gotten so cold. And Carl says, Betsy, listen. Your husband is mentally ailing, thinking he can prove his kids vicariously, try to make up for what our father did. I was just a kid. And all along, Jim was making Dad look like a villain. Mom said maybe he was. But then, she bears responsibility. The fact of the matter is, sometimes you just got to ignore him and get on with your life. Stay with him for the sake of the kids, but get on with your life. And Gerald said, I should have known. More problems with Daddy. Okay. So, and she said, someone said, look, Junior, I know Charlie is your friend, but we can't have him come back. Okay, it's Betsy. He left weed roaches in the ashtray, and if ever your father gets out of the ivory tower and everything, he's gonna be pissed. And Elizabeth says, Betsy, honey, I'm gonna speak my piece. When he was stable, your daddy didn't mind you falling in love with him all over again. But when he gets rocky, like he did in the mid-'80s up in Nashville, and like he is now, your daddy hated that and told you to go on to lead your life independent of Jim. Okay, so it's 9 a.m. Eastern. Jim goes into the Assemblies of Christ Church worship service because he knew Marlena, she had to do a Sunday morning speech at the convention. Okay. And so, after church, Jim would participate on what was known as dinner in the hall, which is an occasional after-church dinner in a little, what they call the specialty hall. Okay, 9 a.m. Central, Betsy has everyone go to church. And I mean everyone go to the Baptist church in Gainesville. Even Elizabeth said, it's 11 a.m. Central. The Hendrick party returned to Hendrick family in Gainesville to have like a choice of a brunch or like some like hamburgers. 3 p.m. Central. JR takes Mike Fields. He's dreading returning to Lubbock, but Mike told him some good news. That Kim is coming next week. 5:10 p.m. Okay, Mike Fields drives towards the DFW airport, and JR calls Jennifer Bowers. And Jennifer Bowers is like, okay, I guess we need to meet before I go off to London. Why don't we meet Louis Armstrong Airport? You know, there's a little Terminal B lounge, Terminal A Lounge B. We'll get you a chance to meet there. And then we'll talk. So it's 7:10 p.m. Central. And Nations Airlines charter flight 4AC1225 departs out of DFW bound for Lubbock. 9:25 p.m. Eastern. At the Richland, Jim and Marlena, they decide to engage in one final tryst before Marlena would leave. She was returned to the hotel tomorrow morning. 9:40 p.m. Central. Arriving home at the dorm, JR goes to bed. Charlie decides, well, I'm going to go and engage the girls at the Sneeze Snack Bar. Of course, he doesn't go to bed until later on. Okay, now, this is where some of the craziness is. Are you ready for some of the craziness? I hope so. Because this is, you're not going to believe this. I gotta find this. Okay. So that Monday, JR wakes up Monday morning to find a nasty letter from Kyle, criticizing him because his mom came to see him and not me and George and everything. We had, they could have flown to Midland and then gone to a rodeo with us in Denver City. Christine butts heads with Mark Wilkinson about the agreement between him and Jim Hendrick back in 1984. Considering it's been, 10 and 12 years later. JR can't concentrate on his classes and studies. So Charlie takes him after school to the frat house. After a mobility lesson with, which Charlie just shows out. And the teacher, Claire Bruce, knows all that. So, anyway, Charlie decides to smoke JR out. And so, JR doesn't come home until about 3 o'clock in the morning. He's pretty sick. 3:20 a.m. Eastern. In the movie theater, back in the original Hendrick mansion in Washington, D.C., Jim is watching a 1978 spy thriller movie of his, a favorite, called Holding Fast. A story about a Texas poker hustler who fell in love and was done in by a double agent of the United States and the Soviet Union. Someone from the South, Jim, remembers going to the movie, a theater, alone to watch this because he and Betsy had got into a huge fight sometime after moving to the ranch. Even though Betsy won't be home with her mother until tonight late, Jim's happy that they're at least coming home. Okay, it's 7 a.m. JR is taking his exam in strategic communications management, and it's obvious, okay? She can tell. The Ivana Cho, she has him for 2 classes. Government Relations and Strategic Communications Management. And she says, look, you look like death warmed over. Why don't you go home, get some rest. I'll tell you what. I'll talk to your private secretary about taking some notes for you, and we're going to try to get you a good absence. So, JR gets into the Hummer, talks to Lucinda. She's going from Lubbock University College, and she drives him home in the snow. And man, he's crying. She agrees to take his notes for his public relations and constitutional law classes. He says he believes he'll be well enough for his media writing class. Okay, so it's 11 a.m. Eastern. Alright, Jim is walking out of the General Services Administration office in downtown D.C. No, he's walking out of across the street, the Fort Worth Times offices. Suddenly, the Scotch-Island gentleman from before approaches him, Jim. He's basically like, you don't know me, but I know you. And Jim's like, well, who the hell are you, and what the hell do you want? And he said, would like to meet in that cafe over there, and so we can talk. Yeah, this is one of those water and apple cider vinegar moments here. Crazy Ezra. He doesn't even appear in another episode, praise the Lord. And Jim says, okay, let's go. So they walk into the cafe and ordering some burgers, fries, and soft drinks. They sit down. And Jim says, alright, 5 minutes, because I got a meeting. He puts out a picture of this beautiful young girl. And pushes it towards Jim. Laurel Roby. Ezra's hand, sarcastically. Remember? And Jim's like a deer in the headlights. Like, oh my God. Yes, I do. I'm just so, and Ezra's getting all narcissistic and all. I'm just sorry I ever pimped her out to you, push her your way because she really fell for you. And Jim's like, well, look, I was a fool. Took a lot of Washington, D.C., to Dallas, Fort Worth, Gainesville area, even back to my own family ranch, and we had lots of Trish, and I guess I did care about her, but I knew we couldn't be together. I had to stay with my wife and be faithful to her, at least until the election. And he said, but if your wife, this gets out, yeah. So that's another drinkable moment. It's like, what the heck? Ezra? He's like Mr. Smarty Pants. It's like he don't know. And Jim says, she already knows. I told her later on that month she left for Baton Rouge. She couldn't stand the sight of me being such an idiot. Once I found out that Laurel is pregnant, and he said, well, what about your children? I think it was your firstborn that knows, was it? Once again, rubbing it. And Jim said, look, I already feel guilty enough as it is. Once I confess to my wife and my family, my boy raked me over the coals about this. Okay, so just drop it. So, Ezra drops this on the table, pushes it towards Jim. He's this crazy woman. Gets a new diary every year. So I took this to show the proof of a letter. October 1st, 1994. Dear Jim. And he's reading it, and it's obvious, there's tears in Jim's eyes, because, she wanted to take him away from Betsy so bad. Calling it a dead marriage. And she's acting like a good wife and stepmother, but, it's just not going to happen. And I realize that, and I'm so sorry, And little baby Ezra is going to be born not even knowing his father, because I can't approach your wife. And Jim's like, send me a copy of that page. And so Ezra's grinning from ear to ear. Oh, but the whole thing is for sale for $10,000. I'm not asking for pocket change. It's either $10,000 or a few acres on the outskirts of Phoenix. Give me time to think about this, Jim's thinking. And he's like, well, why should I? But I'm only going to be here 2 whole days before I take the red eye and go back to Phoenix. Jim's like, let me tell you something. Don't expect to make a lot of money on this story, because I'll fight you. If I have to, the kid may be my boy, the girl, but you gave that kid your own namesake. Jim kind of like rubbing, hey, it's on you too. So 3 p.m. Eastern, and at the home office back at the Hendrick Mansion, Christy meets one more time with Mark Wilkinson, who is increasing. She's pissed how she is approaching this thing about the one with the Mississippi matter. At the same time, Jim is playing golf with Sarge. He's like, he said, I took you out of school only because there's something I need to talk to confess, and there's no one I can do it right now. And Charles like, anytime we talk, or around the golf, sure. And so Jim's like, that nearly a year ago, I came here to assume public office in Washington, D.C. What you don't know is I fell in love with a young secretarial girl that was being pimped out by her boyfriend. Next thing you know, we're together for about a couple of months. And I realized we could no longer stay together. So it's like protesting, Jim, wait a minute. And Jim's like, little did I know that one Sunday in July, she came charging into the front lounge of the mansion in front of all those interns in JR and said that she was 3 months pregnant and she was with my baby and she was keeping it. And Sarge's like protesting, Jim, like, I don't really want to hear that. And Jim's like, look, I know I was facing the wrath of Betsy. Not long afterwards, she left me for Baton Rouge to stay there for a while. Until she can figure out how to approach it. But JR has had the hardest time forgetting for me. And so Sarge straightened and he said, let me guess. This Scotch American came and told you everything about this child. And now you're scared about how you're going to approach Betsy? Just got a text from the young fool. He's coming tomorrow night to show the child. Okay, so it's 3 p.m. Central, and JR is working on this investigative piece on Whitewater in the Public Affairs Lab, okay? Now, 7 p.m. Central. JR is studying peacefully in the dorm living room, and all of a sudden Charlie's banging on the door. I had a roommate that was kind of like that, you know, it's like, what the heck? And Charlie's demanding, hey man, what's wrong with you? You missed steak night tonight. Come on. Let's go hang out with a gang of vape. A good logie. And Charlie's like, I ain't vaping with you tonight, man. Charlie. I stayed up with you getting high last night until 3 o'clock in the morning. Barely noticed my communications management test this morning at 7 o'clock. Had to miss class, except for my media writing lab. You idiot. He's like, okay, look, I made a mistake. I screwed up, okay? I just wanted to give you some confidence so that you can hurry up and ask Jennifer Bowers a question. Finally asked her to marry you. And Gerald's like, don't give me that garbage anymore, Charlie. I don't believe a thing you say. When you told me yesterday that if I don't ask her, then you want her for yourself. You do better watch your step with me. So at 7:30 p.m. Central, Betsy and Elizabeth are on the plane. And they're on the way back to Washington, D.C. And Elizabeth's saying, Betsy, honey, remember, you married this man, this James Ryan Hendrick, and so you gotta find some way to deal with him. And she said, Mama, he's changed even ever since we moved to D.C. and not for the better. But believe you me, I will find a way to handle him. And I think eventually over time she does. 2 a.m. Eastern. In the mansion front lounge, he sits quietly, reflecting on the past few days. He is hoping to talk to Betsy when she wakes up. 4:20 p.m. a.m. Eastern. Jim realizes he has a busy schedule. He has a meeting with the Hillel Al Synagogue at the Small Business Administration. Confession to the Reverend. A little pre-hearing meeting at 1. At 2, he would be done. In time enough to talk to Betsy. Okay, so it's 8 a.m. Eastern. Jim is meeting with his leaders at the Hillel Al Synagogue in Washington, D.C. for brief breakfast. And he's talking about how central they are as part of his faith-based initiatives. So he's scattering. He's desperate for power. Okay, so it's 8 a.m. Central. And JR is summoned to Dr. Harmon's office, his academic advisor. And it's like, oh no. And Charlie's like, look. Every time Charlie takes a look at my sister, picture, he thinks of one thing: lunch. And Charlie's like, alright. And Dr. Harmon's like, alright, look here. I called you in because some things have come to my attention. One of my colleagues, and believe me, these professors, word gets around fast, Dr. Watson has been saying that you've been missing some of your classes in public relations and constitutional law. We know that it's not like you, Dr. Harmon said. Now look, if you want to do a doob every now and then, that's no problem. But when it comes to you missing classes, it affects your grades, which affects everything. And Gerald says, I promise you, I will do everything I can to do better. I promise. Okay, so it's 1 p.m. Eastern, and Jim is at an SBA hearing to discuss, it's a pre-hearing to discuss some of the groundworks for a hearing regarding a company in Houston. Okay, so it's 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Christine meets in the Washington, D.C. home of Francis Blackwell. He found out that according to records, the software which had landed in Natchez last week was now in New Orleans and was being sent back to another company in Mississippi to be distributed, and Christine would be cleared to speak in Jackson, Mississippi on Friday. And supposedly her mom was getting approved. He then shows Christine a picture of Sally, saying that he knows that his niece is fond of JR. And says in a soft tone, for this cause shall a man leave his wife, father and mother, and shall cleave to his wife, and they twain shall be one flesh. And that's what I want for Sally and JR. Okay, it's 2 p.m. Eastern. On the patio in the mansion, Jim and Betsy exchange some kind words. They're trying to deal with it, Jim is like, look, for whatever happened, I really am sorry. And they sit and talk to her for a while. So it's 4 p.m. Central, Ezra shows up at the mansion to talk to Sarge. He said he got $87,000 to leave the Hendrick family alone once he presented the baby, and said that the baby would be there at 6 o'clock that night. Okay, so at 6 o'clock at night, it was Eastern. JR calls Christine on the phone, and the conversation sounds a little something like this. JR? I guess that loan went through. He went through. I knew it long before you did. Hey, now, hold on now. I'm just trying to be friendly. No, it's okay. I just want to be the one to let you know. Think about this. Because of what you did, Francis Blackwell is giving us $18 million. You're getting $18 million too? No. Just one payment of $18 million is going to you. Sally told Francis that that's what she wanted. I just got off the phone with her. Oh boy. I can't believe this. After all this time, I can't believe this. Well, you better. Think about how good this is going to be. JR, we did it again. We're ahead to Jacob Wordsworth. Where Daddy's only ahead 1. But can you guys just stop, please? Need a little family harmony for what's about to happen. What's going on, Sarge? Jim, your daddy. Uncle Jim asked me to come up. I did indeed. Miss Betsy and I had a long talk, and you should hear what I have to say. You know about this, JR. Yeah, Daddy, I do. Last spring, when I arrived in Washington, I lived with her haywire. I fell in love with a secretary. The boyfriend rejected her. Once I found out she was pregnant, I confessed what I did to Betsy. She forgave me. But now we're going to present the child. The name of the child is Ezra Stockton Jr. He may be Ezra Stockton Jr., but he sure does look and act like a Hendrick. And with that, I give it 2 glasses of ruby red grape juice, a freighter, and then that's about it, guys. What can I say? This was a good episode, but it had some parts I didn't like. The parts with Charlie. I gotta be honest with you. Charlie Nation, he was a fun character at first, but now it's beginning to see like, oh, not good. Not good at all. So, that's over with for now. And I hope you guys don't mind, because this has been one of the craziest episodes. Now, there's going to be one in a couple episodes from now. But you'll enjoy it, I promise. I promise. And I hope you enjoy listening to the J.R. Hendrick Texan, gentlemen. If you like what you hear, please subscribe and become a part of the adventure. This is the James Hendrick Empowerment Network saying until next time, get ready for the rest of the story, because it's sure going to get more interesting from here. And this next episode, no Charlie Nation. No Charlie Nation. But it's going to get more interesting. So, hang on to your hats for the day of friendly weekends.